Okay, so BQ406A, continuing the Cert 4 in project management. So if we go back to this, what we're saying is you've done the work, you've got the inwards reports, you've done your validation. So the next thing in here is you would normally do your work breakdown structure update, or your Gantt chart update, your task update, where you say, okay, about 10% finished of that, or that task's complete, or whatever. Now, even though we haven't done the timeline, you have to understand this when you're doing HR reports, because you've got to give feedback. You've got to actually understand what they've done and what they haven't done. So what we're going to do is when we talk about the Gantt chart, what you'll be doing in the Gantt chart or in the work breakdown structures, you'll be saying what's been done, what hasn't been done, what percentage of what's been done, and the whole thing takes time. Okay, so you have to be prepared in managing this Gantt chart or work breakdown structure that is going to take you a lot of time to be able to go through each week. I'm not talking about days, but you've got to be diligent to make sure that you keep it up to date, so that if somebody says, oh look, I haven't finished this, and it's on the critical path, then you're able to go back and raise the issues and do whatever you've got to do. You've got to keep on top of it all the time. One of the biggest issues you can do is not keep yourself up to date and not keep your documentation up to date. If you lose it and something slips through the floorboards and you don't know about it, or somebody said something's been done and it's not, even if they believed it was, but it wasn't done properly, then it will burn you. So be aware of the requirement and the time that you'll need to be able to put into it. Again, we'll spend more time on the actual management of those tasks when we get into the timeline, but I'll give you a quick example tonight as well. Okay, so what we need to do is once we've actually got that up, once we've got that work breakdown structure updated, so somebody's come back and said, okay, yes, I've finished that, I'm halfway through that, you know, that one's not going to be started until next week, and they've gone through the tasks, then we need to be able to do an analysis of those tasks, so you can turn around and say, oh look, I want to see all the tasks allocated to Santa Claus and see how many of those things he's got done and where he's outstanding, and compare it to when he was meant to get things done and where he hasn't got things done. So that's when you start looking at the feedback. Okay, so we want to be able to sort it. We want to sort and filter the tasks so that we can see whether the people have done what they should have, whether the right things are done in the right time, look at the task status and any other critical tasks. So what we're going to do now is have a quick look at an example of the spreadsheet, which is what I've put online. Now this isn't exactly the same spreadsheet as I've put online, but this is the one that I was telling you about, which is the work breakdown structure I did for takeover. Now I have taken away all the names and all the things which could possibly relate you back to where it came from. So if you see something, tell me so I can remove it. Now I've coloured this, so the first part of it is actually the concept stage. Then when we come down, it's the design, and then it's the implementation from here, and then the finalisation after that. So it's much easier for people, as I said, to actually say, oh, these are the 50 things I'm going to do, but you've actually got to put it in order so that it means something when you're going through and you're managing it. Alright, so if I have a look at this particular spreadsheet, you can see in here that we've got an agreement for land sale and assets, and these are the subtasks. Now the spreadsheet that I've given you doesn't have the different levels, it's just got different colours and indentation, so we can copy and paste it into a Gantt chart program later on if we need to. In here, doing standard filtering in Excel, if I go data, filter, auto filter, I can turn it off. This is 2003, this version. The same facilities are in the Vista 2007 version. So I can click anywhere in here, providing there's no blank lines. If you've got blank lines, it won't work. You'll have to actually select the area that you're going to do. Has anyone done filtering? Fairly standard. Okay. So if I want to see all the tasks allocated to PH, I can just go down and say PH, and that's all his tasks. Or I could then say all. Or I can turn and say, do a custom and say, show me everything that is less than 100%. I could have actually selected that from here. Okay, then I can see all the tasks are less than 100%. Or I can turn around and the reason why I have the word heading in here or not applicable is that I can turn around and say, do a custom where I show everything is either heading or it's equal to somebody's initials. and that way I get to see all the headings plus their tasks. Does that make sense? So it allows you to be able to say, oh, and then you can save these. I don't know if you know Excel, but then you can save these as views and then add it to a toolbar, and just, you don't have to go and do this every time. You just click on and say, okay, show me the view of DF with headings, and it will just take you straight there, no matter whether they've been updated or I've changed the names or the responsibilities or whatever. So again, this is something which is pretty easy to be able to copy and paste into a Gantt chart. Now, with the duration, obviously, in the actual task, I can say this takes 2 days, this takes 3 hours, I can do whatever I want, and then if I copy that into the Gantt chart, that can go over there as well, into it as well. So what we want to be able to do is then work out, okay, so I'm on the phone to Mr. DF, and I can turn and say, okay, have you done the handover, the grower register and copy agreements? And they says, oh no, I haven't yet, it's only about 50% done, and it's going to, there's a priority of 1, and I haven't got anything in here, which isn't going to help. But normally I would have all the columns in here. The template I've given you has got columns in it for the date updates. So on a certain date, you can turn around and say, you know, the expected completion date is the blah blah or whatever. So you've got a lot more facility to actually be able to input comment. This was just one, I had to take a lot of that sort of thing out because there were comments and things in there that would have been to enable you to identify what the project was. So you're happy that you could actually identify the tasks, that you could write the list of people that are going to be your stakeholders and allocate them to the tasks, then do an update very basically, say where you are with it, and then filter on it and find out who's done what when, and then understand whether their tasks are up to date or whether they're in schedule with whether they're actually doing it within the timeline you've given them, or whether you've got to do something about it.